Welcome back to this video on recovering from the modified Ravitch procedure. If you have not yet checked out the preparation and the procedure, please feel free to go back so you have more information on everything I'm speaking about. Our son had the modified Ravitch procedure, and upon our return home, he was moving around and only experiencing a slight bit of discomfort. I made sure to keep the discharge instructions handy so I could review them as needed and set alarms in my phone and kept an electronic note to help me keep on track with his meds schedule. From a mental standpoint, we dove into healing visualizations that, though I could not find one that was appropriate and I ended up creating my own, I think they really helped, and he agreed, although I won't lie, this took a bit of bribing on my part to get him to do it. The idea here was to work with him on what his idea of healing looked like. After all, there's a reason why Olympic athletes and people who operate at a high level picture themselves doing the thing, because our brains can't tell the difference between reality and perception. So if you'd like to take a look at the healing visualization that I recorded, you can see below. The other thing that was super helpful from a mental perspective was the sign-up genius that I had created for friends to sign up for post-op recovery visits. And this helped free up my brain space as they were responsible for looking at the dates that I had already put aside and then signing up for those visits. So oftentimes the parent would send me a note and say, "Hey, are we still on for Saturday at 2?" And I kept those short so that he had the connection that was required, but also the option to rest afterwards if needed. Another mental preparation that I did in this process was I met with school officials before his return to school to talk about the plan for his restrictions, as well as the help that was needed when he came back. Physical preparations included daily walks that we went on with our audiobooks that were already a lifesaver in the hospital. They just continued when we got home. The easy clothes that I'd purchased that had zippers and buttons and things that did not have to go over his head because he could not lift his arms above his shoulders. And when he was resting, I rested close by, which was important. And part of that was me having the foresight to take the week after his surgery off of work so that I was available for whatever he needed. We focused on good quality sleep and continuing with that despite his sleep schedule being a bit off. He did regularly request the Apollo Neuro, which was used often to support him in falling and staying asleep. I've included a link below. Just a note on sleep. One of the things we did when we returned home was we connected two Alexas together. So he had an Alexa in his room and we had one in our room, so we could use it as an intercom system. So he would ask Alexa to call us when he needed to get up to use the bathroom, and Alexa would then wake us up so that we could help him in the night. He was not able, from a physical perspective, to carry anything greater than 5 pounds for 3 months, which included not utilizing a backpack or participating in gym class. So plans needed to be made surrounding this. And that looked like not only that meeting to make a plan with school officials, but asking friends that were in his classes to be able to carry his belongings between classes. From a food standpoint, I doubled down on sauerkraut and probiotics to help support his gut following the antibiotics that he had in the hospital, and high-quality protein to help with muscle synthesis and the regrowth of cartilage on his sternum. He was unable to shower until we hit that first week mark, so it was sponge baths for a couple of days, before moving on to showering with a shower stool. Because he was unable to lift his arms above his head, my husband helped him wash his hair for at least a month following surgery. And we had purchased a new shower head with a handheld sprayer that was incredibly helpful. You can check out the links for all the things I mentioned below. From a STARS perspective, what worked well was having food already prepared. It was incredibly helpful to just thaw things out and warm them up. The other thing that worked well was having this excellent line of communication with the surgeon's office. So if at any point we had any questions when we returned home, we were able to get them answered. I had already taken a week off of work, as I mentioned, to regroup once we returned, and I'm so grateful that I did, because it allowed me the brain space and time to re-enter into society. And we are super glad that the timing of the procedure was better than expected. Originally, going into it, I was wishing for different timing, but it actually worked out perfectly, as some of his restrictions were lifted as soon as summer began, which was a lifesaver. And for reference, we had the surgery done at the beginning of March, and by the 3-month mark, he had some restrictions lifted. In terms of things that I would have changed or would have done differently, our wishes, I would have put a schedule for the spirometer, the breathing lung strengthener, in my phone, as once we returned home, we would forget to stay on top of it. I would have developed a list of items of his likes and dislikes, because I received this question numerous times, which was certainly kind of all the friends and family that were reaching out that wanted to spoil him in his recovery. But I wished I'd secured this sooner, because I felt like I was constantly responding to people on what they could treat him with during this process. And then, despite buying a wedge pillow to help support him in that upright on his back position he needed to sleep for about 3 months, we still needed more pillows. So I would have purchased extra pillows prior to surgery to help keep him comfortable during sleep, because I found myself running out to buy some the day we returned home. And then, last but not least, one of the difficulties we faced was once he started to feel better, which was shortly after surgery, it was hard to keep him down. And while this is a good thing, I also felt like the fun police. So I probably would have worked harder ahead of time to talk about managing his expectations coming out of surgery, because I did feel like I was constantly saying, wait, stop, you can't do that, no, all that type of stuff. Although, even if I had managed his expectations, likely that would have still happened with a 13-year-old boy. So overall, while it was a tough decision to have our son undergo surgery, we are all, including him, very pleased with the outcome. He's pleased with the physical appearance as well as his increased stamina 6 months out. We are incredibly grateful to Dr. DiFiore, his staff, and the nursing crew at the Cleveland Clinic for guiding us through this process and taking such good care of our son. We have now reached that 6-month recovery mark and are happy to report that our son is doing well and has been cleared for much more activity, which he is happily engaging in. I plan to provide another video update once he has the metal bar removed at 1 year. I hope that you have found this series helpful. Thank you so much.